I'm Tommy Evans from DROIDS Recording Studio, and today I'm going to explain why you need to be using templates. I know, it's a dirty word. Intro. DROIDS Recording Studio is two people, Tommy Evans, that's me, and Devin Schmid. Devin's in the other room trying on every coat that he owns because it's literally 7 degrees outside right now. It's so cold. We are audio engineers that specialize in heavy music, and we make videos about the recording and mixing process. If this is something that you're into or something that you want to learn more about, that's awesome. Thank you. Hit the subscribe button, tap the little bell icon so that you get notified whenever we post a new video. Now, some people hear templates and they go, oh, that's a bad word, I want nothing to do with it. But look, templates aren't about taking the creativity and the fun out of mixing. They actually allow you to be more creative and have more fun. Don't believe me? Well, hear me out. Don't you usually route all of your guitars to a guitar bus? Aren't you normally routing all of your drum tracks to a drum bus? And if you're multing out your bass, are you sending all of those bass tracks to their own little bass bus? And I know you route all of your vocal tracks to their own Vox bus, right? I think you see where I'm going. Now that was the easy, top-down, super bird's-eye view version. Let's go a little bit deeper. Aren't you routing all of those individual buses to their own music bus before they hit the master? If you're not, I hope you are, and I'll explain why later. Even deeper now, if you specialize in a certain kind of music like we do with heavy music, you're probably using the same 2 or 3 or maybe 5 different guitar amps or VSTs. Have you found the one bass or the 2 bass VSTs that you like to use all the time? Having a template that has all of this routing built into it is going to save you a ton of time. Now, there's going to be some people that say, oh, but Tom, it only takes me a minute to find my guitar chain, and it only takes me a minute to create my vocal chain, and then it only takes me a minute to go into my VST folder and find my bass plugins that I like. Yeah, fine, that's good, but add all those minutes up. If you've chosen this audio engineering gig as your hobby or your career, and you want to do this long haul, and if you want some degree of success, doing the work now so that you don't have to do it later will put you on the right track. Imagine this scenario. If you're writing something and your creative juices are just going and you're in this creative bubble, nothing can stop you, and you've got to get this creativity out of you. This happens to me all the time. Usually it's like in the middle of the night and it sucks, but I get up and I just go do it. If you're in this flow state that we creatives like to be in and be most productive in, you don't want anything in your way. You want as less friction as possible. That includes going to find your VST plugins and going to find your presets that you made. If it's just there waiting for you, you don't get interrupted. Now imagine if you have a band over and the guitarist has this cool idea that he just thought of on the spot and he just wants to get it out right now to see how it sounds. Yeah, okay. Hold on, buddy. Let me switch inputs and outputs here and then route everything to the guitar bus, and then no, how annoying is that for everybody in the room? Have it ready now so that you don't have to do it later. Flow state. We don't want anything stopping our creativity. Now this is my advice. Take a half hour to open up a blank session in your DAW. I use Studio One, Devin uses Cubase, but you can do these templates in every single DAW. Here's what you do. Open up a blank session, create 10 guitar tracks. You probably won't use all 10 in future sessions, but it's better to have and not need than to need and not have. You dig? Now open up 4 bass tracks, create all the drum tracks that you need, create 10 main vocal tracks, create another 10 background vocal tracks, set all your routing up now. Here's what I'm getting at. Make your life easy. Do this tedious, monotonous, boring, uncreative work now over the next 30 minutes that it'll take you to make this template so that you never have to do it again. Now, of course, your template's going to be evolving and growing over time as you evolve and grow and as your tastes change as well, but that's okay. Minor tweaks down the road are easy peasy, man. Now listen, if you're worried about CPU overload or maxing out your computer's power or RAM or any of this, here's the hack behind that, and here's actually what I do, because I think I've only got 8 or 12 gigs of RAM in my machine, which is kind of a lot, but if you're doing heavy sessions with lots of tracks and effects, you start to realize that it's not as much as it sounds. Now, when you're creating your templates, what you want to do, at least for your guitar tracks, this is what I do. You go and find your favorite 2 or 3 or 5 guitar VSTs, load them all up in the track, disable them. do that for all 10. Now you can probably reserve 6 rhythm tracks and then 4 lead tracks if you wanted to, because those tones are probably going to be different. But the gist is this, man. Put all of your probably going to use these VSTs and plugins into your channel and hit disable all. This way, when you load the template next time, it's not loading what's 5 times 10? I don't know, 50. It's not loading 50 different VSTs just for the guitars alone. They're loading, yes, they're loading them, but they're not turned on. They're disabled. This is super helpful for CPU heavy effects. Now I'm just honing in on the guitar bit of this template, but of course it applies to the bass bits and the vocals and the drums and the effects and the percussion and everything else. But you can still apply the same principle that we're honing in on guitars to everything else. It's the same principle, it's the same practice. Now listen, if you have your 10 guitar tracks created and they're all ready to go, disabled, but they're ready to go for you to just audition this VST versus this one one at a time, that's cool. If you're going to download a song from a website that hosts free files for you to practice your mixing on, do that. Pull in the probably 2 or 4 guitar tracks that song has, pull them into your session, and then delete the other 6 guitar tracks from that session. You don't need them, they're taking up space. So yes, when you open up the template, it's going to look like this beast of a thing with everything that you can imagine in it, but in most cases you're not going to be using everything. So get the tracks into your template, and then just erase all of the extra tracks that you're not needing. For example, if you create a sub-kick track in your template and the song that you have to mix does not have a sub-kick track in it, get rid of the sub-kick track in your template because it's just taking up space. Now I mentioned routing all of your buses to their own little individual music bus. We call this a fake master. Here's 2 good reasons to do that. Reason number 1, if you are not mastering this track and if the band has already hired a mastering engineer, or if you want your buddy to master it for you, here's the deal. If you're routing all of the instruments to their own buses and then the buses to their own fake masters, what we're going to call it, you can mix into your mastering chain, and then when you go, so that way you kind of know what it's going to sound like after it is mastered, and there's not going to be any surprises. And then when you go to export the mix, you just disable your mastering chain and export the mix as it is, so that it can go to the mastering engineer. Easy. Reason number 2 is this, so that you can easily reference other A and B tracks. So if you have a band that comes over and they say, you know what, we kind of want this production to sound like a Gideon, or we kind of want this production to have kind of like a Signs of the Swarm kind of vibe. Here's what I like to do is I'll turn on my fake master and I'll master into that fake mastering chain. I'll mix into that fake mastering chain, and then I will pull in a Signs of the Swarm track or whatever band that they wanted me to kind of resemble. I'll pull in a track from that, and now automatically that professionally mixed song that they're after goes to the actual master, and it bypasses all of the buses and it bypasses your fake master as well and just gets dumped right into the master. Now if you were to not have a fake master bus and you routed everything to the actual master at the end of your DAW chain, when you drop in a reference track, that reference track is going to be going through your mastering chain. So it's going to be affected by the plugins that you are using. I hope this makes sense. So one way around that is by just sending all your buses to a fake master before it hits the actual master. That way when you drop in the reference track, boop, it just goes over all this, goes right into the master. You can quickly back and forth, mute, solo, A and B, so that you can see where your levels are sitting at, and so that you can see that you're in the same ballpark that the band wants you to be in. Now there's plugins that'll allow you to do this without having to make that extra fake master bus. But the good ones and the easy ones to use are upwards of $200. So do yourself a favor, save $200 or more, and just set up your routing this way. So those are the reasons that we use templates, and those are the same reasons that I think you should use templates. Even if you're doing video work as well, this is what I did. When I'm filming this video, there's my stutter coming out. Good time to be on camera. When I'm filming these videos, this is the first, I've only done a handful so far at this point. Now what I've done is that I figured out the formula of my typical video and the layout of my video, and I've done the same thing in Premiere Pro. This is the software that I use to make videos now. I've created a DROIDS recording studio template in Premiere Pro. It's got my intro ready to go, and it's got all the usual effects that I use, and it's got the title cards ready, and that just saves me time, man. Literally, it took me a half hour to do that, and it's going to save me probably 5 to 10 minutes every single video that I do. So the more videos that I do, hopefully there's a lot more to come, stay tuned, I'm saving that much more time over the long haul. I hope that I've explained templates well enough that they're not about making every song sound the same, and templates are not there to make every band sound the same, as some might believe. They're actually super helpful, and you can have wildly different mixes using the same template, because the template is just the routing portion that we do in almost every single mix. If you found this video helpful or insightful, drop a like. I would greatly appreciate it. If you're going to start using templates, let me know as well in the comments. In the low end is what we're calling it. Tell me about your template, what you're going to have in yours. I'll tell you what I have in mine. And if you have an audio buddy that thinks templates are bad, send them this video. If you want your music mixed by us at Droids Recording Studio, contact any of the contact links in the low end. I really look forward to chatting with you. Until next time, always use your blinker and change your strings.